Communism may have been consigned to the dustbin of history, but there are many new problems which we need to tackle together. And the Transatlantic Alliance provides that platform to do just that, if we have the political will to adapt it and to exploit it. And those problems include counterterrorism, counterproliferation, the political and security crises in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, the Middle East, Africa, energy and climate security issues, world trade issues, world health issues, the integration of China, India and Russia and others into the political and economic system. The list goes on. But what is very noticeable is that these are global rather than regional challenges. And the problems confronting the North Atlantic Treaty Organization have now got very little to do with the North Atlantic. NATO has to think globally, whatever indigestion this gives to the ideological purists. Our biggest challenge today, as others have said, is a long way from the North Atlantic. It's in Afghanistan. When I left Moscow in 1993 at the end of a posting there, we had what certainly proved to be exaggerated hopes of a more peaceful, democratic and stable world, a vision which, as others have said, was shattered by 9/11. And since then, we have found the world just as difficult to manage as it was in the Cold War, and probably more so, and with challenges that are certainly more diffuse and often more shadowy. And today, we need a transatlantic relationship that is a match for this changed but very difficult international environment.
Well, Jamestown was the first successful colony from England in the New World, which was, as I'm sure most of your viewers know, set up 400 years ago. And of course those settlers came determined to establish themselves here with the traditions of Magna Carta and human rights and government which they brought with them, and which have developed and flourished in this country ever since. So we now see the results 400 years later of this very tenuous early link, which is now the great bond between both the United Kingdom and the United States.
The lessons that we learn about our transatlantic relationship and the wisdom we take away has a very important purpose. By understanding our shared culture, our shared history, and continued future partnerships, we can use these insights to look at how we might handle the larger challenges today and those that await us in the future. To be sure, there will always be a need for capabilities to kick down doors and destroy tanks. Our militaries possess this capability and use them expertly. What we've lacked is a conceptual framework, a cultural awareness, and a broader set of capabilities to reestablish order and provide for humanitarian assistance while defeating insurgents and terrorists. We must address the root causes that destroy the basis of democratic growth. The biggest threat to democracy today is our freedoms and those seams in democracies, those things that make democracies strong, are being manipulated by people that would see us threatened and don't wish us well. And I think that's a huge threat. Our media is very vulnerable to manipulation. Our institutions are all positive institutions that try to work for the betterment of people. That's a good thing. But it also puts them at risk as we go into places where people don't share those same values.
We then gathered at Virginia Commonwealth University for a discussion of democracy and diversity, led by Mayor Cory Booker of Newark and Richmond Mayor and former Governor L. Douglas Wilder. The importance of a broad-based and inclusive approach to self-government, one that bridges social, cultural, and other divides, was the focus of that important dialogue.
My parents taught me early on that this nation was founded in these perfect ideals, but a savagely imperfect reality. And that the history of this nation is ordinary people doing extraordinary things to make real on this promise of democracy. I grew up with Langston Hughes' poems being quoted by my mother. America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be. The history of this country was not defined by its elites. It was defined by its ordinary people who must have that American spirit. A nation that was not founded on a theocracy or a common religion. It wasn't founded on a monarchy by blood. We were founded on principles and ideals that are still at stake, that are still at risk. We have the challenge in our ordinary days to do something about that, to reach beyond ourselves and try to make a difference, to try to push this country forward. So perhaps that last spirit Ms. Jones showed, that last theme that's most important to me, is this idea of love. Now, love is often bandied about as a sort of a soft word or a being word, but I know from my history it is not. It is a tough word. It is a hard word. It is a demanding word. And as my father said as a young man, it takes someone to stand up for it. And now we who are Americans have a choice. Will we sit down on the sidelines and enjoy the fruit of this nation? Or will we get in the game and make a difference?
I think it's often problematic or a problem in and of itself if we all project our responsibilities onto national figures who are distant from us often and not realize that we ourselves have the capacity to create whatever reality we want, even almost given no matter what the federal government does. Again, the things they're doing, debating and arguing, are very important issues. But the reality is when it comes to the quality of your education, that's not a national issue, even though they talk about it constantly. The real educational decisions are made on the local level. When it comes to the safety of your communities, it's your local law enforcement. When it comes to creating economic opportunity, it's the imagination, creativity, the intellectual capabilities of your communities. So I see all the major issues that are on the hearts and minds of the community I live in are really decided at the local level, and even the national level is often responding to through Congress people or senators to the agenda that's set. So I'm a big person about believes in empowerment, and that you should not pass on your authority necessarily to distant people, but you should take full responsibility for your reality.
People are interested. They are interested in wanting to bring about change. They are interested in wanting to be involved. I say to young people, let nobody ever tell you what you can't do. Be prepared. Even when family members tell you that you can't do it, thank them and move on away. Keep getting up. Even when friends who will tell you, well, you know, you don't have a chance, thank them too and keep moving up. It's almost like Cory Booker said when he was speaking about Miss Virginia Jones. There are many Miss Virginias all around. And they are the people who will tell you, you keep the faith, we're going to be with you. Even when the leaders will tell you you can't make it, the people that know you, the people that have worked with you, the people that you've gone to school with, the people that you've had occasion to be a part of, if you are for them, they will never forget you.
And finally, in preparation for this conference, leading scholars of classical democracy and Enlightenment-era thoughts assembled 2 weeks ago at Virginia Tech to illuminate the philosophical foundations of democracy and the heritage of political thought that influences us even today. That discussion will flow directly into our first panel tomorrow morning, which will address the architecture of liberty put in place centuries ago by the American founders.